No school Monday this week. Tuesday, we started with some tennis. On the way home, we stopped at the store and found these mac and cheese gummies totally by accident. They do not taste like macaroni and cheese, but I thought they were funny. And then we did our traditional school when we got home. The highlight of our day was definitely our math lesson. Okay, so we learned today, what did we learn? How do squirrels see?
Like if you're going fast, they'll see like in slow motion.
So they see in slow motion, period. So this is supposed to look like a squirrel. It absolutely does not. I think we messed up one of the shapes, and that's okay. But we did all of the answers right, and that's how we came up with the answer of squirrel. Glory was super tired today, but she did a great job keeping good attitude. We are really focusing on keeping our attitude good, even when it's something we don't really want to do or we're kind of not feeling it. Now, there's obviously a time and place where you listen to your body and you stop and self-care and all that kind of stuff. But a lot of the time when it comes to what we are talking about, it is just, I don't really like math. I don't want to do it. I don't like writing. I don't want to do it. So we are focusing a lot on keeping a good attitude and doing everything to the glory of God instead of complaining about things. And I knew she was tired today. I was also tired today, but we already took yesterday off. So taking another day off just wasn't the smartest idea. And we just talked about how just like kids sometimes have to go to school, like traditional school, even when they don't really want to. We're the same way. Now, if you're sick, it's a whole different story, but just, I don't really want to do school. Sometimes we don't get to choose what we want to do, and that's okay. Wednesday, we had much more energy. We started at the gym. We played several rounds of tennis with each other, and then she did a ton of independent school before we headed off to youth group. Now, a huge reason why we powered through on Tuesday was because we knew Thursday and Friday were going to be fun school days. So this is Thursday. We did a St. Patrick's Day school day today. So we started out with some protein pancakes that also taste delicious. We love the Kodiak cakes. We watched several St. Patrick's Day episodes of different little cartoons that she likes. We also did some read-alouds on YouTube. Now, she did do some traditional school in there. We did her math, language arts, and spelling. And she got a new pair of St. Patrick's Day stitch socks. We made some St. Patrick's Day Lucky Charm cookies. And then I had a tutoring student come over that evening. So I made him up a little goodie bag. I did this for all my students that came that week. And then, of course, Glory got to eat one of the chocolate coins as well. After he left, she finished her rainbow. Now, this was started this morning. It is just food coloring and water, and then you put paper towels in between. Now, usually you do this in a circle. And I knew that this would probably be one of the last years we do this. We've done this every year since my daughter was 5. Now, she's getting older. Things like this are not going to be as fun anymore. However, she still wanted to do it, and then she put her own little spin on it. She wanted to make it into an actual rainbow, get cotton balls, make it look like clouds on the end. I loved the direction she took with it, super creative, and just still had a lot of fun even though she's getting older. So this is a super easy little science activity to do with your kids. And then, of course, we had to take our little pots of gold and turn them into fizzy, bubbling messes. So this is just baking soda and food coloring, and then you put vinegar in it. We did several variations. We put the vinegar straight into the little bubbling pot with the food coloring already in there. We also did it to where we poured the colored vinegar. So we did vinegar, put food coloring in, and poured it into just plain baking soda. And then we got to where we were mixing some colors and honestly just making a mess, but it was a lot of fun. And then, of course, we had our Irish stew for dinner. Now, Friday was a field trip to the State Museum. We did start with some spelling work, however, and then we headed up there. I didn't do a lot of filming. We did take a couple funny little pictures. We just kind of enjoyed the time. And then when we got home, it was time to make our St. Patrick's Day slime. So we didn't get to this yesterday. We also have a couple more activities we're going to do on Monday, which is actually St. Patrick's Day. But I made a clear slime with green glitter. She made a cloud, I think it's called cloud slime or fluff slime. And she put these little like foam beads in hers. I'm putting these shamrocks in mine. And then we just kind of sat and played with slime for a couple hours. Now, typically I would end this because it is Friday. However, Sunday morning we got woke up to tornado warning alarms going off. And we'd been learning about tornadoes, so I figured I would go ahead and include this in here. We packed up, we headed to a tornado shelter that's not too far from our house. Nothing happened, the storm blew over, wasn't a big deal, but it was definitely something that was a new experience for her. I grew up with tornadoes, so they're not something that I take lightly. And I know a lot of places that are not too far from us did get hit really bad with this specific storm. It just happened to kind of jump over us. But it was something that we were able to talk about, like, hey, we just learned about tornadoes and, you know, this is a real life. We literally talked about an evacuation plan in school, like in our homeschool studies, not even a month ago.